Hi everyone, my name is Elizabeth. My pronouns are she, her. Welcome to my Flosstube channel. This is Savory Sewing. You can also find me on Instagram at Savory Sewing as well. Flosstube channel is a YouTube channel where folks talk about cross stitch. Occasionally I do talk about other sewing related things, but today it will be mostly cross stitch as well as some project bags that I made for my cross stitch. So that's what I've got. I have the usual Flosstube fare for y'all this lovely February day. I have some fully finished objects, a big finish, well it's a finish for now, but it's a finish, it's still a win, and then a bunch of whips, and I'm going to talk about some plans for March and maybe April. Yeah, that's all I've got, so let's get started. So the first thing I have are two fully finished objects. One you can see here over my shoulder. I showed this I think last video that I had finished stitching this darling little raccoon, and today I got him laced and popped into a frame, and he is going to hang in my kitchen. Let's see if I can get him. Yeah, sorry for the reflection. This is just a off the shelf frame from Michael's that I had in my stash that actually just turned out to be perfect for him. There you can see me reflected. It's a little bit, ooh, yeah, that's not good. Anyway, this is a pattern by Dirty Annie. It's called Tell Me I'm Pretty. And it's stitched on Lugana Dirty Chai from Fiberlicious Yummy Fiber with mostly the called for colors. I think I had most of them. I think his body might be different than what was called for. But look how pretty that magnolia is. Like, I love this. I think I talked about it a lot in my last video, how much I just am tickled by this pattern, and I'm very excited to have him hanging in my kitchen after I'm done filming today. So that's my first FFO, and I'm going to leave him back here so everyone can enjoy his darling little face during the video. My next fully finished object is from a finished piece that I stitched. I was looking it up. I started it in 2021, December of 2021, and I finished it in March of 2022, and it has been sitting waiting to be fully finished ever since. And so last weekend I felt like sewing. And so I decided I was going to make some project bags because I have 24 new starts planned for 2024 and they all need homes. And I remembered that I had this sitting like literally completely ready to go. The fabric was cut, the stitching was done, it just needed to be put together. So this is one of the bags that I made last weekend, and so here it is. This is from a hands-on design pattern called Love My Stitching. Looks like this. It was a collaboration she did with So Much to Love, and I think So Much to Love did the bag pattern, and the stitching pattern was hands-on design. I obviously did not stitch it in any of these colors. I think at one point you could get that fabric. What I ended up doing was I had this fabric in my stash. This is Lori Holt fabric. I love this big rose. And so what I did was I just picked, well, so Lori Holt is a very famous quilt designer, and she also does cross-stitch patterns, and she has basically a color palette. And so if you've ever stitched one of her cross-stitch patterns, the colors are the same as her fabric, basically. She's pulled the DMC that match. And so I really didn't have to do that much work to figure out which pink was this pink and the red. You know, this is DMC 347, what have you. So I just made it all match because I knew I wanted to make the bag out of this fabric, and so that's what I did. So this has been, this stitched piece has been sitting in my pile since 2022, almost 2 years. And so this past weekend I just stitched it together, and I think the inside, yeah, the inside is the same two fabrics. Looks like I didn't actually stitch the bottom of the bag together. I should probably do that. But yeah, so that's my other fully finished object, or one of them, for this past week. I'm super happy. I don't have a project in it yet, but I'm sure I will find something to put in it. So, all right, so those are my two fully finished objects. My next is my big finish for now. If you follow me on Instagram, you've probably already seen this, but she is, well, finished for now. My Dark Queen has a face. She's a crown. She's got those sweet antlers. And now she's ready for the rest of the backstitching and the beading. I backstitched her eyes and her face just because I wanted to see how she would look, but that's all the backstitching that's done. So This is Dark Queen of the Earth by Autumn Lane Stitchery, stitched on Under the Sea Fabrics, one of the specially dyed for the project, all the called for DMC. And so I'll show you a close-up of her face. Look at that. How pretty is she? So my face is a combination of a couple things. So there were two faces that were officially released. There was an unused face, and this is the unused face with the green skin hair minus there were like some flowery things that came out of her face. With the green skin, I think they both had the same antlers. The green skin had the crown. So I just kind of combined them all together from the pieces that I like, looking at what other folks had done on Instagram. So a big thank you to Tara from Wilda Woman Crafts, who sent me her little mocked up face of how she did hers. She used the same face as I did. This is the unused face, but she used the brown skin hair, which is kind of leafy looking. And there were a couple other folks on Instagram that I looked at what they did. One of them was Pretty Little X's, and then somebody else did something similar with the hair. And if I can find that picture, I'll stick it here, where they just did the hair down without adding the flowery things. So anyway, I'm so excited that she is that she's ready to go. I'm excited to beat her backstitcher as well. And the other thing that's very exciting is I had a goal to get her done by February, or by the end of February, because in March, Stephanie and I are going to start Olivia the Forest Witch. And so I wanted to have her done before I started another big fancy foresty witch lady. So very excited about this. And yeah, I'll just keep showing her to you because she's so pretty. And she's going to be even prettier when she's all blinged out with all of her beads and what have you. So that is my only finish, I guess. Yeah. All right, let's look at my WIPs. So WIP stands for work in progress. I had a bunch of random things that I worked on this month. One was, so this is one of my new starts. I guess I'm going completely out of order because it should be in the bottom of the pile, but it's on the top, so we're going to go with it. I had plans for doing 24 new starts in 2024. And I'm going to show you the first one that was a fail first, and then I'll go on to the successful stitching. So one of them was Moonshine Cabin by Modern Folk Embroidery. I'll put a picture in here. I had pulled fabric and floss for this, and it's not working. So we're going to have to rethink this. Either new fabric and keep the floss, or vice versa. But I had been stitching this. It doesn't look so bad in here, but I think also like fabric placement wise, like look at that big dye spot. Like that just looks terrible. I should have cut this better. The floss looks really good, I think, on the fabric, like when I do this, but I feel like, and I think the lighting in here is making this look better than it is, but it's not really, like you can barely see the green of those leaves. I just don't like the way it looks. So while I did start this, it is going to get unpicked and restarted at some point. That's okay. They can't all be winners, right, folks? So my other new start that was planned for this month was this little guy. This is Red-Faced Warbler by Lindy Stitches. So this is part of her Bird Crush Club. I believe you can get this pattern, but at the time that these were released, and if you were in the club, you had to, I'll show you, look at that little bird photo. In the club, you got the pattern, you got the threadworks, and so in this case, the threadworks was the red. And this is my number 11 of 12 birds, and then I will be done with all the birds. And so here he is. I'm almost done with him. There's not that much left. I need to finish the words and the little branch he's sitting on. This is 16 count Lugana. I believe the color is Summer Soiree by Fiberlicious Shimmy Fibers. It's like a pink, a little bit of green in it. He's stitched with all the called for DMC, as well as that that red thread works. That's his neck and head sort of area. So very happy with him. I should be able to get him done without much more effort. He's good. He's good couch TV watching stitching, because this Lugana is really simple to, really easy to stitch on. and it's not a ton of counting. So I will probably get him done maybe this month, maybe the beginning of March. And then I have the 12th, the bird. The last bird I haven't stitched of the Bird Crush Club is the American Goldfinch. And I think I'm planning on starting that one in September. So I should have all 12 birds done this year, which I'm very excited about. All right, so let's keep going. So my next whip is also one of my Whip Go calls. This is Come to the Garden by Teresa Kogut. That is what it's going to look like. Such a beautiful pattern. Again, I'm going to shout out Miriam from Marui Craft. She's stitching hers on navy blue and changing the colors, and it's so good. I am not changing any of the colors, and I'm stitching it on something very close to the called for, so. And that is also okay. So this is where I am. Let's flip that in a little bit so you can see it better. What I got done, I think I should have a nice photo, and if I do, I'll pop in here where I was before this got called in February. So this was on my Whip Go board twice for 3 days each. It got called in January and in February, and I'm done with February stitching, my 3 days. So this is all of the Whip Go work that this is going to get on this year. I was hoping to get a little bit more done and get that flower finished, but I didn't. But I think my goal for the rest of the year is still to get the border all the way up to basically here and that big flower done. And then I will only have basically the top, I want to say third, to work on next year. So beautiful. It's actually really nice and easy to stitch. And I even made a major counting error, and I think you can't even tell. So I'm not going to tell you where it is. All right, so that means one of my next piece is also Whip Go piece. One of my 2 Whip Go pieces is completely completed for February. This one I still need 1 day on, but I should be able to do that, no problem. So this is a Stitch for Sweet Freedom by Lindy Stitches. And this is where I am. This is stitched on 36 count linen in the color Acid Wash by Forbidden Fiber Co. It's stitched with mostly the called for, or at least something that is similar to the called for. And I will put a picture in if I have one of where I was before I started working on it this month. I think basically all I had done was like the bottom of the skirt and like the words to like here. So I got a lot done. I'm going to put 1 more day into this. Probably what I'm going to do is finish that other star and then just work on whatever words I can get done. And then this is on my Whip Go board 1 more time this year. So that means it's guaranteed to get at least 1 more day in February and 3 more days throughout the year. And in theory, I might be able to get it done. If the words go really fast, this is all, you know, pretty heavy stitching there, but it's not super complicated. So yeah, really like this pattern. It'd be nice to get her done this year. It'd be nice to get all my 2022 whips done, given that it's now 2024, but we shall see. All right, next whip. I worked on this. I think I pulled this out because it's got an owl in it, and I like to stitch owls on Sunday, and I worked on it a little bit on Friday the 13th. This is, I'll put a picture in if I don't show you the pattern right now. Yeah, I'll put a picture in because the picture on the book is really small. But this is Luminous Fiber Arts, and it's called Enchanted Quaker. I really like this pattern. And it is, actually, hang on, what is this stitched on? I think this is a hand dyed by Rolanda. Yes, this is 32 count Dusk by hand dyed by Rolanda, and I'm stitching it with DMC 413. And that's where I'm at. This is a page finish-ish. The pages are little, and I started in the bottom right corner. So look how pretty this fabric is. I think this is going to be really beautiful when it's done. So the reason why it counts as the owl is there's a tiny little owl there. Yeah. Not a whip go call, just something that I like stitching on, and it's pretty nice, easy monochromatic stitching, which I enjoy. And just in this little project bag that I made myself. What's next? What's next? Oh, it's always a surprise. These are these are in no particular order, and I just ironed them and stacked them up, and then it's a surprise to me as much as it is to you when I pull them out. So this is Moonglow by Nora Corbett. How beautiful she is. So I'm stitching this as part of a stitch along with a number of folks. We're using the hashtag Moonglow Magic Sal. Allie from Allie's is Crafty, Stephanie from Cross Stitch the Globe, Katie the Peacock Stitcher, and a couple other folks are also stitching this. And it is, I don't know, I was just in the mood to pull her out. Oh, and this is one of the ones, she finally got a project bag. Felt like this fabric matched the color and the theme, and these little pretty moths felt very Moonglow to me. So finally has a home that's not a plastic bag. So, and here is where I am. I started at the bottom center because I wanted to stitch that beautiful blanket. And this is also on hand dyed by Rolanda fabric. This is 28 count olive, actually. Yeah, it's called olive. Which is just a pretty bluey, light aqua-y color. Not a ton of modeling, but I will say the one thing that is really, I think is interesting is see how pink that the blanket is in the model? That is a very much so lavender floss. So the colors are coming out just a little bit different, but it's still so beautiful. If you go check out that hashtag Moonglow Magic Sal, or there's another one called, I think, Embrace the Fold Sal. If that's not right, I'll put it here. You can see a number of folks who've stitched this, and some people have made some really pretty like customizations, like change the hair color, stitching in all sorts of really beautiful fabrics. Really enjoying stitching this one. And I was lucky that I had the bandwidth this month. I pulled it out, actually got 2 days worth of stitching on it. I'd like to get the blanket done so I could start working on those leaves up the side. But so pretty. The Karen water lilies, this is the first time I've ever stitched with those, and they are just like, they're beautiful. Very beautiful. So it's Moonglow by Nora Corbett. Next in the pile is another Halloween themed piece. You've seen this a number of times, and you'll hopefully see it most months, because Stephanie and I are now locked in a battle to see who can get ours finished first, and she's winning. She's gonna win. It's not gonna be me. But this is a pattern called Hollows Ewe Sampler. I'll put a picture. Actually, no, I'll show you. By Joan Elliott. Super cool looking piece. I saw this in Shepherd's Bush in Utah when I was visiting last summer and fell in love. They also stitched theirs on purple, which is the inspiration for me stitching mine on purple. This is 36 count Erie linen from Forbidden Fiber Co., which is probably my favorite purple green at the moment. I've stitched a number of things on this, and I'm stitching it with, I think it's called Chalkboard. Yes, Chalkboard by Forbidden Fiber Co. is my black. So this is my second skein of 8 or 9 skeins of floss. So I'm measuring it in skeins of floss. So I was hoping to get all the way, I'm almost very close to being all the way across to the width of the piece. So I think this got a day or two. It's really nice stitching, because it's a monochromatic piece. Like, oh, look how good that witch looks. I love her. Love her. Also has an owl on it, so it could come out on Sundays, because I like to stitch owls on Sundays. All right, now I think that is all my whips. Yes, that's all the whips that I worked on. I've got 2 more new starts to talk about. So last month, or last video, I showed the kit that I received as part of the hashtag kitted up sale, or kitted up swap. And on Valentine's Day, a number of folks started their projects as part of the kitted up sale. And so I started this. This was my pattern that I received from Michelle from Bendy Stitchy. This is the Stitchy Witchy Bell Pull by Stitchy Prose. And I'm stitching it on 40 count Cecil by Seraphim Fabrics. And I'm stitching the black in the DMC Etoile that Michelle sent. And all I may have intentionally just, I started in the center, it's the center start. And then I stitched those words. Honestly, I stitched it because it would look cute on Instagram for it to say weave spells as part of my Instagram post. I am that person. I'm okay with it. But I'm super excited. She sent me, let me show you, a couple different colors of really pretty flosses to choose from for the colored bits. The called for is Classic Colorworks Rainy Day. And Michelle sent 3 beautiful Stitchy silks, 2 flower silks, and a Fiberlicious Yummy Fiber silk. So I'm going to try to use all of them, I think, and just pick as I go where I'm going to put the colors. But I think it's going to be really pretty. All right, so that was one of my new starts, and my other one is, I will put a picture here because this is a digital pattern. So on Superb Owl Sunday, I attended the Superb Owl Stitch-In that was hosted by Lindy Stitches and Hands On Design. So Stephanie Webb from Lindy Stitches and Kathy Haberman from Hands On Design through a virtual retreat that was owl themed on Superb Owl Sunday. And I started one of the patterns during the event. This is the Stitching Parliament by Kathy from Hands On Design. It's 4 little owls, and they all have like they're all sewing themed. They all have little names, and I have so far stitched this little guy. This is Snips. How cute is he? This is 32, no, I have the sticker right here, that's how I know. 36 count Highland from Picture This Plus. The called for was like cream, I think, and I think if you stitch in one over, oh wait, am I holding it backwards? I'm holding it backwards. I had this, when I pulled all the floss, I had this piece of fabric, and honestly, I think the yellow and the blues look nicely together. I'm not going to stitch them 4x4. I'm going to stitch 3 of them. I think I'm going to stitch 3 of them across because they'll fit. And then I'm either going to make a drum, a little owly drum, or I'm going to make this a project bag panel. I haven't decided which. And I'm going to do, there's this line of the branches. I'm going to do another line of them across the top. If I turn it into a drum, I'm going to do that for sure. If I turn it into a project bag panel, I'm not sure. But anyway, he's a little finished for now. And how cute is he? Very cute. The pattern from Stephanie was also very cute. This one just, I had all the stuff ready for this one. I also made a new project bag for this one. I have this is, I can't remember the designer, but this is owl fabric that I've had in my stash forever. And folks, look at that pattern mashing. I'm so proud of myself for that. And then I was going to iron the bag. I put the bag panel on upside down. So excellent work here. Not so excellent work here. I was completely done with it. I'm not unpicking this and redoing it. That's not going to happen. So we'll just look at it from the front and admire my good work. Ignore the bad work on the back. But look how cute those owls are. So Snips is living in this awesome owl bag. And I will finish the rest of those owls. And I'm happy to have more owl patterns in my stash because you can't have too many. It is, what, February 25th? Right, it's February 25th, so there's only 4 days left in February. But, so I have a couple plans for the end of the month, things I have to get finished, and then I'm going to talk briefly about my plans for March. I have to finish my WhipGo project, which is a stitch for sweet freedom that needs one more day. I think I finished everything. I started everything I was planning on starting, and I finished everything else, or worked on everything else I was planning on working on. Today I'm going to pull out this one and work on it as part of like my stitching Christmas on like the 25th. This is Third Day of Christmas by Hello from Liz Matthews. I haven't touched this since last month. I can tell because it's still basically perfectly ironed except for where it was folded in half. Look at those. I still love looking at those little chickens. So that is the plan for tonight's stitching, probably while I edit this, and I will work on that a little bit. The new WhipGo calls are out. They are number 1 and number 10. Number 1 is my Stardew Valley map, and the goal is to finish this. And you will probably laugh when you see how few stitches are left and why has this not been finished yet, Elizabeth? Why? And mostly it's because I hate stitching on it, because I made some rookie errors when I started it, and it has been sitting. So I started this. This is my very first cross stitch project from 2020 when I started cross stitching, and it has been sitting since March 29th of 2020. So it will get finished before its 4th birthday, because it has to get finished this in March. But this is where we are. You can see there's like this needs to be filled in. There's some random white spots down here that need to get filled in, and this needs to get filled in, and then it's done. This should take me like, I don't know, a couple hours. It's also, I don't know if you can see how stiff it is. Like, this thing would stand on its own. But it's gonna get finished. And I haven't played Stardew Valley in a while, but I love Stardew Valley. It might be Tetris, Dr. Mario, Stardew Valley. I'm dating myself here. And my favorite video games. But I'm very excited to have this done, and I'm going to hang it next to, I don't know where I'm going to hang it. It's going to go somewhere, probably with our board game, video game collection of stuff. But anyway, number 1 WhipGo call is this. And if I didn't put a picture in, I will put a picture in, and the name of the pattern. I know I bought it on Etsy. But there's like nothing left to do on it, so I need to get that done. The next WhipGo call was 10, and that is a pattern from a Just Cross Stitch magazine, which was from this issue with the cat on it. This is the 2020 Halloween issue, and the pattern is hold on one second. It's called Don't Be Scared. Original artwork by Kim Leo of Kim's Cottage Art, cross-stitch adaptation by Elizabeth Spurlock. And it's this little haunted house scene. And it's full coverage, basically, this whole bit down here. And this is where I am. Hold on. I started this on March 19th, 2021. So this is one of my older whips, one of the last 2021 whips that are out there. And I've got about, 60-70% of the bottom bit done across. This is stitched on, I think this is 14 count Ada in Flapper by Picture This Plus, stitched with all the called for DMC. And if I remember correctly, let's see, there's only about another inch or so here, and that's the size of the piece. Although I'm questioning that given how big of a piece I cut. But we shall see. Anyway, this is going to get 3 days this month, which I should be able to make some really good progress on that, because even though it's a lot of stitching, it's pretty big color blocks down here with the exception of the little trick-or-treaters. So you can see there's like a little ghosty there, little witch there. There's some little dudes over here too. And then this giant moon is basically full coverage, but it's all one color. So those are my two Whipco calls. A couple of videos ago, oh, in my plans video, I talked a little bit about how I always stitch Halloween in April because I'm not really a spring stitcher. Bunnies and chicks and ducks, just not my jam. I also don't stitch any of the spring holidays. So for the last, well, since I started stitching, which has not been that long, I usually stitch Halloween in April because I like Halloween and witchy stitching more than I like anything else. And Allie from Allie Z is Crafty made a comment about, you know, spooky spring. And so I think this is going to be my first hashtag spooky spring stitching. So if anyone else like me and is not interested in stitching bunnies and chicks, no. I will probably stitch some bunnies and chicks one of these days, but not this spring. It's going to be a spooky spring all the way around. And this is going to be my inaugural spooky spring hashtag piece. And then all the Halloween will come out in April. Since I just said that, I'm going to grab something off my floor. Oh, this is my box of Halloween project bags and whips. There's only like 20 in here. Maybe there's 20. I don't know how many there are. But these are all my spooky spring projects. And my goal in April is to touch every single one of them at least once. So that Flosstube video is going to be a lot of whips with not a lot of progress, but they're all going to be spooky. So excited for that. All right, so those are the Whipco calls, which one will be a finish and one will get 3 days. And then I have 2 plans for new starts for March. So my birthday is in March. I will be turning 42 on the 9th, and I had chosen March to be stitch whatever I want, and I've got 2 sort of owl themed starts. So I think what March is really going to be is stitch everything with owls on it. And then I also decided I'm not actually going to make any real plans because it's my birthday month and I'm going to do whatever I want. So I'm going to stitch on whatever I want, and it will be a surprise to you as well as me because I'm going to stitch however the mood strikes me. But I do have 2 planned starts, and one of them is this beauty. This is Olivia the Forest Witch by Bella Filipina. And so I had to finish my Dark Queen in order to be able to start her with slightly less of a guilty conscience. I really have no guilty conscience, but I'm excited to start her. I have all of the goodies. I have the called for fabric. This is, I think, called Fall Foliage by Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers. This is, I don't remember what kind of number linen I got. This is 32 count linen. So pretty. Stephanie from Frolic Knits is going to start this with me. Stephanie, what day we can start this on my birthday, but we can also start it whenever you want. I know you've got all the goodies. On Stephanie's last video, which I think is her number 10. Stephanie, congratulations. Flosstube number 10. I know what it's like to be able to stick it out that long. So awesome for you. And she has all the goodies, and she's going to stitch hers on Cyprium, I think, by, is it Pictureless Plus? Can't remember. But it's a beautiful modelly brown, which I think is also, I think the greens and the purples are going to look really good on it. But I'm very excited to stitch this. Look how pretty she is. And also, did you folks, there's an owl. So it fits with the birthday owl stitching theme. I'm only a little crazy, folks. Only a little. And then the other birthday stitch along that I was wondering if folks wanted to join is Una Owl, who I adore. Look how cute she is. And also, folks, did you see the new Artsy Housewife owl pattern that she's bringing out for Nashville? I will put a picture here. So if you don't want to stitch Una, you could stitch this one. I already bought this one. I will be stitching them both. And new owl bag for my beautiful owl theme projects. I made this in my project bag stitching. Oh, and also, folks, guys, look at that pattern matching there. I didn't even plan that. I didn't even realize I did that. Look at that. Occasionally. And this one, the pattern on the back is right side up. But anyway, I had a project bag making party, And I'm not going to show you all of them. You'll see them throughout the year as we get to those projects. But yeah, so anyway, if anyone's interested in stitching Olivia the Forest Witch as part of, you know, celebrating my birthday, which no one is obligated to do, we'll start that on or around March 9th, as well as Una Owl on or around March 9th, or the new owl pattern, or, you know, any stitch all the owls. That's my motto. So, oh, sorry. I don't know why my back itches, but it does. So that's the plan for, I mean, that's really the plan for March, is to stitch whatever I want and all the owls. So not really different than any other month, but it is what it is. I think, let's see, what else have I got? Those are the plans. Thank you to a couple floss tubers who shouted me out. Lolly from Lollipop Stitches shouted me out on one of her last floss tube. Also, her puppy is adorable, Elvis. Elvis and Journey, who's my dog, now follow each other on Instagram, which is very, very important. Elvis has a lot more followers than Journey, probably because they put a lot more effort into his Instagram than Journey's, but Journey is very cute. I'm not biased at all about the adorableness of my puppy. So that's fun. I also got mentioned by Rhea, the Blue Coast Stitcher, who, right, Blue Coast. Yeah, she's from London. I always want to say London, Ontario, Canada, because that's where Evertotes is. But I'm not sure if she's from London or if she's just from Ontario in general. Anyway, she's got a lovely floss tube. You should go check her out if you haven't already. Katie, the Peacock Stitcher, also mentioned me in her last video. We got to hang, I think I mentioned this in my last video, but we got to hang out at Acorn Gathering, Acorns and Threads, which was awesome. And she started the piece that she kitted up while we were there, and it looks beautiful. So, and she finished her piece from the Acorn Gathering piece, which was by Fox and Rabbit, and I'm totally going to copy exactly what she did. So I need to get on that. But she just took like a couple of motifs and made like a little piece, and so I'm going to do that too. Other than that, I don't think I have anything else. Let me look at my list. Oh, congratulations to Stephanie and Allison from Cross Stitch the Globe, 1,000 subscribers, although I think they're at like 2,500 now. So excellent work, ladies. And if you haven't watched their video where they go through the most expensive cross stitches patterns out there, it's really eye-opening to see how much folks are willing to pay for cross stitch. I can see some of those patterns why folks would pay for those. Others, I'm like, eh. I'm like, you should go just to watch Allison's face, quite frankly. But it's a really fun video. So with that, I'm gonna say goodbye. I hope you all have a great rest of your February. Happy leap year, folks. If you're starting something giant and crazy for Leap Day, I hope you have fun with that. I don't think I will. But you know, things might change. And then if you're interested in stitching owl stuff with me in March for my birthday, I don't know, maybe I'll come up with a hashtag or maybe not, I don't know. But if you are stitching something with an owl on it, please tag me. I like to see all the owl patterns. I could always use more in my stash. So happy stitching, folks, and I'll see you soon.